Hi, I'm Tammy Bragg, and thank you for joining us on the Profitable Passions podcast. You'll hear real stories from real women exploring their passions and turning them into profits. They'll share how they got started, what they do, how they do it, and who they work with. And they'll share some great insights that you can use to get started in your own business that you'll love. I know it's hard to figure out what you want to do and who you want to serve. And as women, it's hard to look at ourselves and say we're good at this or that, and we totally undervalue our worth, our skills, and our talents. And a lot of times we're just afraid to get started. But we're our own worst enemies. It's time to break those chains and get out there and just do it. And if you need a boost of confidence, a quick tip, or amazing advice, you've come to the right place. Now, let's find out how we can help you create your profitable passions business. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Veronica Romney, and she is a 12-year branding and marketing veteran who has executed marketing campaigns for some of the world's most respected brands, including Sprint, Marriott, IMAX, Dr. Well Vitamin Advisor, and major influencers, and more. Even more than that, she is a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, and an advocate for the you who wants more but doesn't know how. She is the founder of My Modern Brand, a branding and marketing education company that helps great people and great companies clarify their brand message and find their unique brand voice and market themselves authentically. When she isn't busy wrangling a business and 2 kids, she is an in-demand international Tony Robbins and Dean Graziano speaker with topics including branding, marketing, sales and entrepreneurship, self-education, knowledge businesses, and more. All right. So listeners, we're here with Veronica Romney with My Modern Brand. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Tammy?
I am good. So you're pretty accomplished at your entrepreneurship journey, and you've been out there in the world of being a speaker and being in marketing, and now you're having you started the My Modern Brand and have a whole new business set up. Can you tell us a little bit about that and your journey?
Yeah, so I have this personal belief that entrepreneurs birth other entrepreneurs. So I am by far a product of my parents, who are 2 Cuban immigrants, and they've had an air conditioning company in South Florida for 30 years. So being the oldest, I was front row to whatever they did and saw the struggle and what they were willing to put into their dream. And so I knew when it was my time, I would take my fancy marketing college degree, and eventually I would become an entrepreneur, but you just never know when that moment, when it calls, right? The call of entrepreneurship. For me, it happened a couple years ago. And I think like most entrepreneurs, you kind of like navigate these waters thinking you know what you want to be known for, or thinking that you're like, okay, this is going to be my core thing. I want to be known for this. But that ebbs and flows, to be quite honest. So like, yes, I have always been a marketer. I have come at marketing from every angle you can imagine in my corporate career, and now obviously in this kind of entrepreneurial role. But it wasn't really until like the last year, to be quite honest, where I'm like, of all the seats I could sit in when it comes to marketing, the seat I love doing the most is being an educator, a teacher, a speaker. And for me, like speaking is just a bigger form of teaching. Instead of teaching a classroom of 25 or a virtual workshop of 25, when you're speaking in an auditorium of 1,000, but it's still teaching at its core, in my opinion. So I like helping people self-generate their best ideas versus me trying to come up with my best ideas that sometimes take life and sometimes they don't, because if it's not yours, you're not going to 100% own it. And so now that's why I help my fellow entrepreneurs, especially the entrepreneurs that are in that first year to 3 years of their business, when they're really trying to like hustle and trying to figure things out. I think that's where I really can empathize and specialize in.
Oh, goodness. So what kind of advice would you give a startup entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I think the thing, especially, I don't want to be gender specific, but kind of like, I do think what I notice in my female entrepreneurs, especially my mompreneurs, the women that they're raising a business and a baby at the same time. What I see a lot with my female friends is they rather wait and wait and wait some more than doing something in the attempt to do it right or to do it perfectly. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a limiting belief or it's the lack of themselves giving themselves permission, but I do tend to see a lot of searching for good education and good knowledge and gurus and mentors, but I wish there was equal amount of execution, and there's not. A lot of education, little execution, or a lot of online courses, but little clarity on what you should be doing next. And I do see that to be a big problem in the industry, and which is hard for me, because if I had to identify one single superpower in myself, it would be getting things done. Like, I'm such an executioner. Done is like my power word. I love it. So I think if I could give a piece of advice for your listeners, it would be like, I'd rather you take imperfect action and do it yesterday, to at least know that you did something, to have the confidence that you did it, to learn from what went well and what didn't go well, to, reiterate for the next one and the next one and the next one, than just to sit there thinking that you're going to knock it out of the park if you just wait another 6 months, because you're not going to. You're going to get some things right and some things wrong. And that is just the territory of being an entrepreneur. The sooner you can come to terms with that, the sooner you'll actually free yourself of the pressure that you don't have to put on your shoulders. It's not about being perfect. It's just about doing what's right for you and your customer.
Oh, wow. That's great. And I guess we've talked about this before. I've had a business, and then I've kind of went and tried to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Yeah.
But I got stuck in what you're talking about for my next venture. I went through all the education, and I'm still kind of going through that. I'm going through all the education and trying to learn so I can feel comfortable taking the next step. And it's really hard to get over that mindset that you don't have to be perfect to just start.
It is so hard. And so what I've started, for me too, because I'm a knowledge junkie. I love new knowledge. Like I graduated in my bachelor's, but I never got a master's. I thought I would one day, but then, lo and behold, I learned that there's a whole world of online education by doers as opposed to professional book readers. I'm like, I'd rather learn from somebody who's done the hard thing than somebody who's studied the hard thing. But I'm a total knowledge junkie, and I love. But what now, as a form of discipline for me too, is I will not permit myself to buy one more thing without having executed from the thing before. And then what I also do is as I'm learning new material, I will execute right next to it. So if I'm taking a copywriting class and learning how to do amazing copywriting, every single module, I have a new piece of content that I've created as a reflection of what I just learned. So I learn and implement, because that's when it sticks. And that's where I get the confidence that I can call myself a subject matter expert, because I've learned and done, not just learned.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well, Veronica, I really appreciate you being on, and I'd like you to come back and have a longer episode with us. Would you be willing to do that?
Of course. For Tammy, anything.
Thank you so much. Well, Veronica, let's let our listeners know where they can find you in the meantime.
Sure. So social media, I'm everywhere as V Romney. And then website-wise, you can just go to mymodernbrand.com.
Great. Well, we'll have you back on soon.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you found some great insights in this episode. You'll find our guest information, links, and bio in the show notes, and on our website, profitablepassions.com. I'm Tammy Bragg, and I hope you'll listen to future episodes as we have more great stories from incredible women who want to share their journeys with you. So we can attract more awesome guests, we would appreciate it if you subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, and tell your friends about it. Thanks again for listening to the Profitable Passions podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.